Welcome to another episode of the House Huddle Podcast. Here are your hosts, Rob Schwartz and Justin Onayemi, two Bears fans who decided talking into a microphone was better than shouting at their television. Welcome in, House Huddlers. Huddle up! It's a lot easier to do live than it is with Bob during the midweek, but
you gotta like set a metronome or something,
right?
And then
just gotta give like this like look, like, do it now. As always, I'm Rob Schwartz with Bear Goggles On, good friend and co-host Justin Onayemi. It's a big win as we head into episode 96.
All right, so 96, right away, two names should come to mind.
Yeah, I came up with one right off the bat, which you also had.
Yep, Alex Brown.
And then you reminded me of another one.
Yeah, and Akeem Hicks.
Definitely worthy.
Both very worthy, both crucial, well, good players, first and foremost.
Yes.
On good Bears teams.
Yes.
Both went to the playoffs with the Bears.
Alex
Brown went all the way to the Super Bowl with the Bears.
He did. And he's still affiliated with the Bears.
Does post game.
Yeah, he's now also with CHGO.
Yeah, so we'll give the edge to Alex Brown.
Yeah. Also, as much as I loved Akeem Hicks, like those last few years, he just really wasn't even on the field.
Yeah.
Constantly hurt. So this is the Alex Brown episode.
All right, sounds good. Right. Another Bears victory.
Another Bear. First time in Matt Eberflus' career of 3 in a row.
I put an early wager on him for Coach of the Year.
It's looking good.
And it's looking good because they forget about Andy Reid when it comes time for that. They're like, yeah, Andy Reid, you're old news. Who's the up-and-comer who had a team that was not in contention, who now all of a sudden they're in contention? I tell you this, if the Bears make the playoffs, he'll be considered strongly for Coach of the Year.
I mean, we saw Matt Nagy win it in 2018, so it's definitely a possibility here for Matt Eberflus.
So if you are interested in wagering, please check out our sponsor through BetStamp. But the way you would join would be through signupexpert.com/huddle. And that will take you to an opportunity to sign up for books and get the best deals and help our show as well.
Yeah. Not only that, we again hit our bets for this week.
Yeah, perfect.
2 teams that we picked, and then we parlayed them, and boom, happened again.
And we are recording this Monday night, and it's about halftime of the game. But if Buffalo wins, we also were perfect in picking every single game this week.
Yeah, that's insane. Although we weren't the only
Not against the points, but no, I know. One other person, too. So pretty impressive.
Yes, off to a good start.
We're like the Bears.
Year. Yeah. We've had some rough years in the past, so this is a good start. I don't want to take our foot off the gas. We got to keep going in UFFL.
So I think we should talk about the game, some of the stuff that came to us. We're also going to talk about giving out game balls, but I think a feature that we could probably regularly put in the show is pathetic Bears history. Because I think this team is going to, specifically the offense, is going to start to do a lot of things that's going to expose old records and things like that of the Bears that are kind of sad. I got at least 2 that I want to share with you.
Does one include the name of a coach that should never have been a coach?
No, this doesn't involve a coach. Although I didn't look up who the coach was of the particular stat, how far back this goes.
That could be it then. So I might have an addition to
what
you're about to talk
we'll
about.
add it, but I'll find a time to pepper it in.
Okay. All right. Before we do, please continue to support the show by hitting the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. If you are new to the show, you'll be automatically entered into a free giveaway for a Bears jersey we're trying to get out the door. All we need to do is hit 750 subscribers, and then it's out, being shipped to whoever wins. Also, leave comments. We love comments. I try to comment back within 24 to 48 hours. I know Justin and Bob also comment back and forth with their personal accounts as well. So please definitely,
get the chatter
comments.
going. It's an exciting time to be a Bears fan.
Yeah, it's awesome. 35 to 16. I almost said 17. I did not think they were going to win by that much just because I thought Jacksonville's offense was going to be able to put up more points. I was worried that when we saw 2 of our defensive backs go down with Brisker not traveling, and then right before the last practice leading into the game, we saw Tyrique Stevenson. I think it was an ankle. Not having those two guys, I was like, oh no, they might let up more than 21 points finally. They did not.
So I think that's something I want to talk about later in the show. And it's also a great topic for you and Bob to talk about. But there keeps being this conversation of like, who are the Bears beating? Mm-hmm. And I have some thoughts on that. But the thing that people aren't realizing about some of their upcoming games, like let's take their next game, which is Washington.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to
Washington. I'm very much looking forward to this game. There's so many storylines and narratives. Not to mention Caleb Williams is from there and it's in DC. Yes. But there is so much talk, rightfully so, about how exciting Jaden Daniels is with that team. But here's the thing: the Washington defense has been atrocious, and the Bears now have an offense that you're like, okay, let's see what these people have. But the other team has to go against the Bears defense.
Yes, the
Bears defense is no joke.
Correct.
They tend to give up one bad drive here and there. And again, in this game, Bears go down and trail. Bears have trailed in all 6 games they've played. They've given up points before scoring points in every single game they've played this year. But to your point, they haven't given up more than 21. You have to go way, way back to when that was even the last time they did that. And so to have that kind of like safety and security with a young quarterback, like we're going to talk about how great of a game Caleb played. But we're also going to talk about that interception he threw and how that typically as a Bears fan feels like, oh, here we go again. Now we're going to get real conservative and like, try to just eke our way to a win. No, they just kept attacking.
Yeah.
And that's great to see. It's a new era.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't just one guy like DJ Moore constantly being fed the ball or Allen Robinson constantly being fed the ball. I mean, we saw the ball being spread around. We saw DeAndre Swift again have a nice game. We saw Roschon Johnson have a nice compliment to that game. I know everyone is like, oh, it's just the Jaguars. Oh, it's just the Panthers. Well, you can only play who is on your schedule. And we talked about this before. It's not just winning the games. It's about how you win those games. Do you remember when they beat, was it Washington? That they beat a couple of years ago. It was like, barely won. I'm done with those days. When you're playing teams that you should be winning by a touchdown or more, I'm going to expect it.
I think when you're a good team, regardless of what kind of team you are, never apologize for a win.
Exactly.
Don't apologize for winning.
And
when we look way back on this, could they have lost the Tennessee game to start the season?
Yes.
Absolutely.
But they also could have won the Indianapolis
game. They could have won the Colts game. So you don't apologize that you won. You're 4-2. You're still basically in the cellar of your division, but only because your division is standing out as the top division in football.
Yeah.
Now, will that be how we think of it at the end of the season? I don't know, but it's possible. And this could be a good division for a while. It's just good to know that the Bears look like they're built for sustained success because things are starting to click. I mean, let's go through some of it. The beautiful, beautiful touchdown to Kmet, where you got to give Waldron a ton of credit on setting up a fake screen to one side, a fake to the other. Their linebackers just parted like the Red Sea. And it was like right down the middle of the Kmet. He had to do a little fun stuff at the end to make it a touchdown.
That was an angry run. He ran over that guy and he got into the end zone.
I'm surprised he had anything left to long snap.
Yes. He is the best long snapper in Chicago Bears history. I am sorry, Pat Manley.
Wow. He's put up more stats.
But yes, if Manley was able to do those types of things, clearly Manley would win. But no, I'm sorry. I got to give it to Cole now.
But that's well designed. Well executed.
And not every play is going to go as expected. This is the NFL. Like, defenses play too. I don't expect Waldron to be perfect. He has looked very good, though, over the last 3 weeks.
Well, something I don't listen to a lot of the post game because I want our conversation to be pretty genuine. But we're a whole day removed, and I did hear a little bit of an interview with DJ Moore on The Score. He does weekly Mondays on The Score, and they asked him directly about the fact that Waldron apparently came into the season. I want to say through the first 2 games before the Mercedes Lewis, hey, we want to be coached kind of conversation came public. Wasn't scripting their first 15. And DJ Moore said that's the only time in his career that's ever been the case. Like, it's a very, very common practice. And they kind of asked for that. And I don't know still, like, if it's genuinely that, like every other team does, or some variety of it. But that's around when this team started to look better. Now, we can't forget they started with 2 3-and-outs to start this game.
I was going to say the scripting hasn't
Yeah,
worked.
and the first quarter, they had like 6 yards, I want to say.
Yeah.
Or 7 yards on 6 plays or something pathetic.
Yeah.
But overall, when they find the matchups they want, they get going, they go no huddle, which we always huddle up at the beginning. But now the Bears, they have their best success when they don't huddle up.
Yeah, which is something Washington's been doing too. So maybe it's just one of those things where,
with a rookie,
it just helps speed things up. You're not thinking as much, getting the plays in. You're able to see the line better. His pre-snap reads have been fantastic. He's identifying the mic. He's doing hot routes. I mean, he's doing audibles and checks. The guy has been unbelievably tasked with an abundance of responsibility that I would not have expected this early in his career.
Well, and I think they're no huddling when they like their mismatch against the defense personnel out there. And then you also have them needing to communicate fast and scramble around. And the interception was bad, but what I actually noticed on that play, and I'd have to look again to really notice it, but they actually were doing that out of their jumbo heavy package, and it was 3rd and inches. So it was a good time to just take a shot.
Yeah.
It's just that I longed for the missed overthrows that he had done in the beginning of the season. Because had he missed by just overthrowing more,
it would have just been.
I'd have been frustrated. I'd have been like, "What's going on with Caleb?" Yeah. But to just float it like that—that's the difference between a potential touchdown or at minimum big play and a turnover.
So let's talk about that play for 1 second.
Yeah, absolutely.
That read was 100% absolutely correct.
And it was a great time to call that play up too.
Had he put it where it needed to be, it would have been over the top of the corner and between the safety, and only DJ Moore could have been able to get it. He horribly underthrew the ball. And maybe it's a product of the fact that he keeps overthrowing the ball. Right?
Compensating for past mistakes.
So now it's a matter of he's just got to get that timing down. I know his deep ball hasn't been what we expect from him. He had plenty of time. His mechanics looked fine. I think it was just a matter of, like I said, I think he just didn't put enough on it on purpose. But it ended up being an underthrow rather than a perfect throw.
So fair to say that is on Caleb. Bad throw.
Yes.
And we think a good call at that point in the game. But did you know, and maybe if you didn't, I want to hear your guess, that was his first interception in blank number of attempts. They said it on the broadcast, but you mentioned you were watching with a group of people. So
yeah, this is why we're recording late. I was in Michigan for the weekend. I am going to assume that is his first interception in 55 attempts.
81 attempts.
Oh my gosh.
That's the type of number that starts to be like, when they say, oh, this guy actively leads the league right now for most attempts without a pick. It gets up to there, maybe even breaks 100 at times.
Right.
But that's great to see. I mean, he made a bad throw. It happens, but he goes 4 touchdowns to 1 interception. Well, could have had 5 nearly, although that was that one that I struggled to give the quarterback too much credit on that kind of like little flip forward.
The DeAndre Swift one. Yeah.
But Mahomes has plenty of those.
Yes.
Every quarterback in the league has a few of those.
I mean, my big thing when it comes to Caleb Williams is we're seeing, and I've complained about this in the past. I complained about it with Justin Fields a lot, actually, was you see the read, you make the right read, but you don't make the throw. Or a lot of times in Fields' case, he wasn't seeing the right read and not making the throw. Is either or for him. But when he did see it, like if it was, he had a great deep ball. He still has a great deep ball, Justin Fields. I'm going to be less upset about you taking a chance deep down the field and throwing an interception like that, where it's the right read. You're only a little bit off. It's not like you didn't see a guy flashing over the middle and you just threw it right
to the middle linebacker.
Right? Like it's nothing like that. It's a very different type of interception to me. And I want to see him take these chances now in his rookie season. Look, I don't want to compare him to Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning is a Hall of Fame, unbelievable quarterback. But he has talked about, like, a lot of times in the NFL, too often these rookie quarterbacks are pulled from games and not allowed to start because coaches are on the hot seat so much that they don't have time to give them the patience to just go out and learn and make mistakes. Peyton Manning threw 28 interceptions. It's still a rookie record
in a 16-game season.
In a 16-game season. Now you add a game.
So Fields has been on, not Fields. Oh my gosh, that should be a jar. We need a jar. It wouldn't be that filled, but I mean,
in the beginning with pace and polls, I messed that up a lot.
Well, you had just mentioned Fields, but Williams seems to be on a steady linear progression.
Yes.
And right now, about a third of the way through your games, you've played 6 out of 17, so that's just over a third, I should say. 9 touchdowns, 5 picks.
Yeah,
that's a fine ratio, especially when you look at only one of those picks has been in the last 3 games, I want to say.
Right.
So, very good to see from him. Distributing the ball. Allen was crucial on multiple third downs. He was the go-to guy. One of his touchdowns was on third down, I want to say, too. And that ball was thrown beautifully back shoulder, but down the middle.
Yes.
Later in the game, Lawrence had the same exact read. Couldn't make the throw or didn't think to. We also think the Bears defense is better. Had to sail it out of the back of the end zone.
Yep.
And that's a former first overall pick. So this is a dude that's got the talent.
Yeah. I mean, another example is the Cole Kmet second touchdown, right? I mean, he goes left, makes his second read to the center, finds Cole Kmet in his third progression. The way that you watch how methodical he is, that's something that we were missing from prior quarterbacks.
Many prior.
Yes. I'm not saying just Justin Fields.
Go far, far, far back.
Very much, probably all the way down to Jay Cutler. And even Jay Cutler struggled at times.
I feel like we didn't even see the best of Jay Cutler in Chicago.
No.
Like, coming in, the excitement of what he had done in Denver, I still felt like somewhat exceeded what he ever even truly did as a Bear.
Yeah.
I still have a fun thing I want to throw out there, but could maybe that be out of a break?
Yeah, let's take a break now. We'll recover, regroup, huddle back up.
2 huddle ups. The Bears aren't huddling enough, so we're going to huddle twice.
Yeah, and we'll be back after these ads.
And we are back. Episode 96, Alex Brown episode of the Hallis Huddle. Huddle up!
Oh, I was so off.
False start. We had talked about it. We don't normally do that.
They didn't have many of those.
We didn't rehearse.
Yeah.
No, they looked clean. So I wanted to bring us back with an interesting little tidbit of information I picked up, but this could be a segment. We don't have like an image or anything like that, but pathetic Bears history. Because we have been talking in the first half of the episode, the Bears look sharp. Not at first quarter, throw that away, but the rest of the game, and in the last 2 games, against Carolina, they went on a 30-0 run, and I think in this one, a 21-0 run from giving up the initial points and then pretty much just putting the game away. But the Bears, Caleb Williams threw for 4 touchdowns, almost a fifth to DJ Moore.
Yeah.
And I believe DeAndre Swift ended up getting a 1-yard run to complete that one. So that was 5 offensive touchdowns for the Bears against Jacksonville. They also had 5 offensive touchdowns last week against Carolina. That is the first time the Bears have had back-to-back 5 offensive touchdown games since what year?
I'm going to guess 2013.
No. No. Wrong century.
Wow.
I could have said wrong millennium, but that's how it feels.
1963.
Still the wrong decade, and you haven't gone back far enough. 1956. Shout out to both my parents who were born in that year, and my mom's birthday just passed. I know they try to listen. I don't know if they make it to the second half of the show, but
sure.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Well, happy
but
birthday,
1956 Kathy. Was the last time they did that.
Wow.
6 games into the Caleb Williams era, the Shane Waldron era, hopefully. We'll see. He might do so well that he moves on, but you're starting to get records like that. There's going to be a lot more of those things to come. Now, there was a 2013 reference as well. First time they've had back-to-back 30-plus games that they won was since 2013.
So, and that's where my mind went.
Yeah. I wonder if there was a defensive touchdown or special teams.
Which is weird to me because part of the problem with that was the Mark Trestman era, and that's the coach that I was referencing earlier.
Oh, okay.
Is a coach that should never have been a coach. Their offense was really good that first year.
Yeah.
And then they just were really, really bad everywhere else. In fact, I think they gave up in the second year back-to-back 50-point games.
Yeah, yep. We were wondering if he would be fired mid-season.
Yes. But the Bears, of course, never do that. But that's the reason why I said 2013, because I was assuming 30 points, 5 touchdowns. Yeah, okay. It must have been defensive. Maybe it was Hester.
So to my defense, when you said might be the coach, I was like, I don't know who coached the Bears in 1956.
Yeah, no, I have no idea who that was either. Well, was it Papa Bear Hallis? I mean,
maybe. I don't know.
I feel like he coached forever.
Oh, so when records are going back that far, that's troubling. Yeah. But it's great to know, because if now's the time to jump on the bandwagon, people. You're going to see a lot of Bears records before your very eyes.
Yes.
Especially rookie records this year.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm hoping that Caleb Williams does not break the Peyton Manning interception record.
It's not trending towards it.
No.
So, all right. What do you want to go next?
Well, I do want to mention one bad thing that happened in this game.
Okay.
And it wasn't the 2 touchdown drives that they let up. It's the fact that we saw Kyler Gordon go down with an injury. And now, if you got Gordon, if you got Brisker, and you got Tyrique Stevenson not able to come back, you got the bye week. This is the time to get healthy. But if they're not going to be able to play or contribute at 100% against Washington, that might make the game a little bit more interesting. I still think Chicago can win that game.
Fair enough, but I feel like you have the bye week now. All in all, the Bears, I think, are pretty healthy, especially when I figure with the bye week, I imagine 2 of the 3 you just mentioned probably being healthy enough to go, if not all of them.
Yeah.
I don't know the extent of all those injuries. I know Brisker's is a concussion, so there's really no way to know how that trends.
That could be 1 game.
Right.
It could be 5 games.
Right. But an extra week doesn't hurt that, obviously.
Correct.
But overall, I mean, not to quickly take this off of being a Bears podcast, but it's certainly relevant as an NFC North rival. But Detroit loses Aiden Hutchinson for the season. Yeah. And I didn't see the injury because I heard how bad it was that I didn't even want to see it.
I wish I didn't see it.
Yeah, I didn't want to go back and see it. But from the sounds of it, it was just horrific. Yes. And that's a huge loss to a unit. You know what I mean? Where I'm not saying any one of the 3 guys you just mentioned even has the impact of him. But I'm saying overall, the Bears seemingly have a pretty healthy overall roster.
Yeah, I mean, Aiden Hutchinson and arguably the best defensive end in the NFL right now.
Right.
I mean, he's been dominant for the last few years, and he started out on fire this year.
Absolutely.
So definitely a different level of loss for Chicago with that. But
so why don't we give out game balls from this game and then come back to just wrap up the show and kind of talk a little overall NFC North?
Okay.
Because I think talking about the Bears within that context is kind of interesting.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, game ball number 1 goes to Caleb Williams. 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, almost an 80% completion percentage. What can he get NFC?
He ran this game quite a bit.
He did. Yes.
He had
almost 300
56 yards on the ground, and they were needed.
Yeah.
And they were at the right times. Caught them in man. It's funny. The guy guarding Kmet just starts running away, and the guy just follows him because he's in man coverage and doesn't know.
Right.
Williams is only 6 yards behind him if he just turns. But well executed. And those were crucial runs that the Bears needed.
Wasn't taking hits on him either.
No,
right?
Like, getting down, getting out of bounds.
I did joke though when we were watching when he slid right into the middle of the NFL logo. I was like, did he just want to stop there? Was that just a plan thing?
Promo?
Yeah. But yeah, no. I mean, the guy had almost 300 all-purpose yards, 80% completion percentage. We talked about the interception already. I'm okay with it. The 4 touchdowns, 3 out of the 4 were absolutely beautiful on his part.
Yep.
So
Distributed the ball very well because a lot of people were involved.
Everybody was involved except for DeAndre Carter. I don't know if he even saw a snap, but
that's good. He was in the tea party, so he must have been on the field for that play.
Okay.
Nice celebration,
not blocking
by the way.
anyone, obviously.
I hope not. All right, well, then I'm giving the game ball to the long snapper, Cole Kmet. Yeah. Although I didn't like that they kept saying, another great snap. Like, two of them were very high to the point where it almost didn't get down in time.
Yes.
So I'm like, Torrey Taylor, nice hold.
Taylor.
Good practice. So I'm going to give mine to Kmet, but for those catches and just being a tone setter.
Yeah. Do you think that they were going for it more on fourth down because they didn't have their actual long snapper? Because they didn't punt at all after he came in.
Yeah, I mean, it probably enters your mind.
I mean, obviously it depends on where you are on the field.
Of course.
Right? But they were in their territory almost every time.
I feel like league-wide teams are just going for it more because when a touchback is the 30, it doesn't feel – I know they're not on punts, but just field position in general seems like teams are valuing it less, if that makes sense, or giving up the ball near your 40, let's say.
Right.
When you typically are starting drives at the 30.
Yeah.
I'll give mine to Cole Kmet.
All right.
There's another one on the offense, I'd say.
Another one on the offense? Well, I mean, Keenan Allen deserves it.
Definitely right? Keenan Allen. He had 5 catches on 5 targets, 2 touchdowns that we know, and both were beautiful. And I don't know if all 5 catches were on third downs. I think his touchdown, one of his touchdowns wasn't, but it was a touchdown.
He had one on a 4th down because I tweeted out that Mr. Third Down was just upgraded to Mr. 4th down.
So, I mean, big time moments.
Huge.
And he's stepping up big. One was in very tight coverage on a slant.
Yeah.
Or like he fakes out and just does an inside slant, and it was well covered, and he just caught it.
The way that, and going back to Caleb Williams here for a second, the way that he was threading it in there to some of those balls to him were just, they could have been interceptions. That's how close that seemed, but they were just perfectly placed. But yeah, so Keenan Allen, and shout out to Adam Rank of NFL Network. What is the name of his podcast? It's the Adam Rank Sick Podcast, part of the Sick Podcast Network. He on NFL Network actually declared the Keenan Allen breakout game for fantasy football this week. So shout out to him for hitting that one out of the park.
Very good. I mean, coming into the game, Jacksonville was one of the worst against the pass, I think.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were projecting big things from the Bears offense passing game wise.
Right.
That's a good call. All right. What about, I guess I don't have any more on offense. Do you have any on the defensive side of the ball?
I'm going to give one to Kyler Gordon. I know he didn't finish the whole game, but the way that he was playing, the way that he was getting in the backfield against the run.
He let Lawrence out on one where he probably should have gotten a sack. But yeah, he was
just, it reminded me of that first preseason game he came back this year from injury, and he was just everywhere.
But you said it, injury.
Yeah.
He gets banged up. And I think it's because he plays like he's big, and he's not that big.
Right.
But yeah, I would say he was definitely deserving. I'm kind of like looking here, cheating a little. I feel like the defense just played solid, but nobody is popping out in my mind. I mean, I'm looking now. Jaylon Jones had 10 tackles, but it was funny because the very first play of the game, I'm like, oh, they found Jaylon Jones already.
Yeah.
Like you said, the injuries that the Bears do have are in their secondary, and so you're not going to throw at Jaylon Johnson that often. So I guess 10 total tackles for him is pretty deserving.
Does Kevin Byard get a game ball for saving that touchdown?
Yeah.
Didn't they score though on that 4th down? Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
So
I don't have anyone else, I guess.
Yeah, like you said, it was just a very solid performance from everyone. Like Chris Williams got a sack.
That was nice. 6th round pick, I believe they gave up for him.
Yeah. DeMarcus Walker got a sack. Montez Sweat shared a sack with Kyler Gordon.
He should have shared 2.
Yes.
And we had him in fantasy. And it's coming down to every last point, although Alan Lazard, good last-second play for us. I think he had a 52-yard touchdown. So.
Oh, nice. And it looks like we should have played Aaron Rodgers this week.
Might be enough. Oh, dang.
Maybe getting rid of Salah was the right move.
Maybe. I don't know the game. But, all right, so NFC North, exciting time because did I see that they are 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the league in point differential?
I did not see that. I know that they are 1, 2, and 3 in takeaways.
That's another thing I saw, that the NFC North is like leading in takeaways and a lot of pressures on the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So like the Vikings, for instance, they surprised us all to come out 5-0. But one of the things is they have a very strong defense. So no matter how excited you are about the Bears,
shout out to Brian Flores.
Yeah, exactly. To go up against Brian Flores, you're going to see things that you're not seeing from Jacksonville.
Yeah.
But when you look at like Detroit, for instance, the Bears played Detroit well last season, 2 games.
Yes.
Beat them once and lost to them when they shouldn't have. And so the thing I wanted to do, if I was going to do a This Just In segment, sorry, I didn't have time to like go back, and I know we'll get accused of, what's it called? Cherry picking statistics or something. But we are 6 games into this season. So I'm saying replace the first 6 from last season. So like their final 11 from last season and their 6 from this season.
Okay.
To kind of look at, they ended very strong last year. Yes. Now it's a different roster, especially at certain key positions.
Yes.
But I think it's a better roster.
Yes.
And I know their wins, actually all 4 of their wins have come against teams that all only have 1 win. Okay. If you look that up, that's kind of a weird, I would say, statistical anomaly at this point, because I don't know how many 1-win teams there even are, but you beat 4 of them. But when the tougher part of your schedule, you don't make your schedule.
Nope.
When your tougher part comes, are you going to be up to the challenge? And so to me, the Bears, where they've improved the most, we think, is on offense.
Yes.
And with Detroit losing a guy like Hutchinson, it's the Bears' offense against their defense, and it's their offense against the Bears' defense.
Yeah.
I kind of like to see that. I think they're ready for those types of challenges, especially when you still don't have, you got the bye now. You got 3 games that the Washington game is going to be interesting. But the 2 after that are ones that you're back to being like in a should win kind of situation.
Yeah, because
at Arizona and then New England at home. England.
Yeah, the Cardinals just got destroyed by Green Bay. I'm tired of seeing Jordan Love actually perform. I know I've been calling for the regression.
Yeah, he played very well.
He regressed for 3/4 of a game after coming back from MRI sprain MCL sprain. Thank you. He had an MRI on it. MCL sprain that, once it seemed like he felt a little more comfortable, then he played better in that second half of that game against the Vikings, and he's looked good again since. So.
Jared Goff looks very good with Detroit. Very good operation of that offense by Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
And then we already mentioned the Vikings. So, it's a strong division, but I think you have to put the Bears there. It seems like nationally people don't want to. I'm fine with that, but they're getting to a point. The defense is very, very formidable, and the offense is coming around.
They're 4-2. They are definitely. I know Bob said they're not a playoff team right now because they're outside of the playoffs right now.
I think they're in it now.
Going into this game, right?
Yeah.
He said they were the 9th seed, and it's just one of those things where are they good enough? Well, yes, because there's so much parity in the NFL. The problem is that there's not looking to be a lot of parity in the NFC North. So who is going to not make it is going to be the question. And it looks to me like 3 teams are going to come out of the North, but which one's going to be on the outside looking in? I'm hoping it's Green Bay at this point, since the Vikings got such a hot start. It might be more difficult.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at CBS standings. I don't know. I hope this is officially right. If it started now, Bears would be the 6th seed at 4-2.
Okay.
Bucks would be the 7th seed at 4-2, and the Packers would be outside looking in at 4-2. Now, obviously, tiebreakers at the end of the season are very different than whatever you're using now.
Correct.
But what I don't understand is last week the Bears and the Packers had the same record, and the Bears were under the Packers. So I don't know. It's too early for all that. But you were clearly in the hunt.
Right.
These next 3 games are pretty important.
Yeah, and they still played an AFC team, but yet the Packers played an
NFC team.
That tiebreaker must not be right.
I don't know if it's right. So, but you just got to keep stacking W's. You play who's on your schedule. You dominate them if they're not as good as you. This next one will be against Washington, who we think is a formidable team. but you're coming off a bye and they're not. So right there, that's an advantage for you.
Yeah.
Now they're not coming off a bye. Do you know who they play though?
No.
Carolina. It's kind of like a bye. It's like it's like a warm-up game.
Another 1-win team.
So, well, I can't throw the Carolina card after just saying it's, people who are knocking the Bears for it are
No, but if
wrong.
I'm remembering correctly, it's not like Washington's played top teams. I mean, they beat Cleveland.
I could check real quick.
Cleveland maybe has 2 wins.
So they opened up the season with a loss to Tampa Bay.
Which is a good
They got
team.
blown out.
Yeah.
37-20. They won 21-18 at home against the Giants. They won on the road at the Bengals, 38-33. They crushed the Cardinals on the road, 42-14, and they beat the Browns, who look like they're the old Browns again, 34-13.
Yeah.
Oh, and then just now lost at the Ravens, which is a great team, and Lamar Jackson does not lose to the NFC.
Right.
It's 22-1, I think. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
That's why I wanted to go with them, but I mean, it's one of the reasons I put them up in our confidence.
Right.
So. All right. Well, it's a great time to go into the bye, 4-2.
Yeah.
And my over 9.5 wins, I still feel okay about.
I got that one going as well. Caleb, Offensive Rookie of the Year.
That game against Washington might matter.
Yeah,
I feel like voters, a head-to-head matchup, like sticks in people's heads, even though it's dumb. They both play offense.
Yes.
So it's like you're not truly going head-to-head. But whoever looks better in that game, especially if it's like considerably better, could, it could stick in voters' minds. But I like to think that could be Williams, given that you aren't going against each other, and he'll have to face the Bears defense,
right,
which I think is a lot better than Washington's.
Oh.
Getting way ahead of ourselves because that's 2 weeks away, and you and Bob are the prognosticators.
Yeah,
so.
I haven't talked to Bob about this yet, but since our episode is coming out tomorrow/Tuesday, because we're recording on Monday, and we usually record Wednesday for the midweek episode, and they're on a bye, I think Bob and I should just take a bye, and we'll both come back for 2 episodes next week going into Washington.
Sounds
we can
good.
talk a little bit Washington. Bob and I can talk a little bit Washington.
Okay. So I get to do a little preview also. And that means I'm back on the odds. So 97. I got one already in my head.
There we go.
Not actually the first one popped in my head kind of surprised me.
I'll ask you off air.
All right. I was just about to say I could say it because he won't win.
Okay. No.
Still no?
Yeah, we'll talk off air.
All right. Well, bear down.
Bear down. Claws up.
You did do the wrong hand.
Every time.
It's more obvious when it's you and Bob.
Well, here
it's
I have
like
enough
a solo
space.
shot.
Yeah, but the other side, I don't have. I just remember
We're doing the Anchorman thing.
Because I do right hand,